Meghan Markle's story did not begin with a prince or a palace. It started under the warm California sun, far from the traditions of the British monarchy. From a young age, she was surrounded by the world of television and film. Her father was a lighting director, and she often spent time on set, watching stories come to life. This early exposure sparked a passion within her, a dream of becoming an actress. She was determined to make her own way, to build a career based on her talent and hard work. Her journey was one of persistence, a slow and steady climb in a very competitive industry. She navigated auditions and minor roles, always believing in her potential. Her path to acting was not just a hobby, it was a serious pursuit. Meghan studied at Northwestern University, where she double majored in theatre and international studies. This unique combination showed her dual interests, a love for performance and a deep curiosity about the world. After graduating, she faced the realities of being a working actress. There were many small parts in television shows and movies, each one a stepping stone. These roles helped her learn the craft and understand the business. She was not an overnight success. Instead, her career was built brick by brick through dedication and a refusal to give up on her dream. The big break came with the legal drama series, Suits. Meghan was cast as Rachel Zane, a smart and ambitious paralegal. The show became a huge success, and Meghan became a familiar face to millions of viewers around the world. For 7 seasons, she brought Rachel to life, creating a character that was both strong and relatable. This role was more than just a job. It was the culmination of years of effort. It gave her a platform and a voice. While working on Suits, she also ran a lifestyle blog called The Tig, where she shared her thoughts on food, travel, and personal empowerment. Even during her acting career, Meghan was deeply committed to humanitarian work. She was never just an actress, she was also an advocate. She traveled to Rwanda with World Vision to support a clean water campaign. She worked with the United Nations as an advocate for women's political participation and leadership. These were not just photo opportunities, they were genuine commitments. She used her growing fame to shine a light on important issues, long before she met her future husband. This passion for making a difference was a core part of her identity, a thread that would continue throughout her life's journey, connecting her past with her future. The world's attention turned to Meghan Markle in a new and intense way when her relationship with Prince Harry became public. They were introduced by a mutual friend in the summer of 2016. Their connection was immediate and powerful. They shared a deep commitment to making a positive impact on the world, a passion that formed the foundation of their bond. Their courtship was a whirlwind, conducted across continents as they tried to build a relationship away from the prying eyes of the global press. It was a modern love story, a British prince and a successful American actress finding common ground despite their very different backgrounds. Their story captured the public's imagination. Their engagement, announced in November 2017, was a moment of global celebration. In their first joint interview, they shared the story of how Harry proposed during a quiet night at home. They seemed incredibly happy and deeply in love. Meghan's entry into the royal family was seen as a sign of a more modern, inclusive monarchy. She was an independent, biracial American woman with a successful career. Her presence was a breath of fresh air. People were excited about the fresh perspective she could bring to the ancient institution. The public watched with fascination as she began to attend official engagements, learning the ropes of royal life. Their wedding in May 2018 was a spectacular event watched by billions. Held at St. George's Chapel in Windsor Castle, the ceremony beautifully blended royal tradition with elements of Meghan's own heritage. A gospel choir sang "Stand By Me," and an American bishop delivered a passionate sermon. These personal touches signaled a new chapter for the royal family. As Meghan became the Duchess of Sussex, she embraced her new role with enthusiasm. She immediately began working with various charities and undertook her first official royal tour to Australia, New Zealand, Fiji, and Tonga, where she was met with enormous crowds and incredible warmth. As a new member of the royal family, Meghan was eager to get to work. She became a patron of 4 organizations that reflected her passions: the arts, access to education, support for women, and animal welfare. One of her first solo projects was the Together Our Community cookbook, which she helped create with women affected by the Grenfell Tower fire. The project was a huge success, showing her ability to connect with communities and bring people together for a common cause. She brought a new energy and a hands-on approach to her duties. For a time, it seemed like a perfect fairy tale, a seamless blend of two worlds. Despite the initial excitement, Meghan's transition into royal life was not without immense challenges. The media attention, which had been intense from the beginning, grew into something more aggressive and often negative. The British tabloid press, in particular, subjected her to a level of scrutiny that was relentless and often felt personal. Stories were published that criticized everything from her fashion choices to her work ethic. This constant stream of criticism was difficult to manage, especially for someone new to the unique pressures of royal life. The narrative often seemed unfair, contrasting starkly with the more favorable coverage given to other members of the family. The challenges went beyond just negative headlines. There was a clear difference in the way Meghan was treated compared to her peers, and many observers pointed to racial undertones in the coverage. Commentators and articles used coded language that played on harmful stereotypes. This created a hostile environment that was incredibly taxing. Meghan later spoke about the profound impact this had on her mental health. She was trying to adapt to a new country, a new family, and a new set of rules, all while being judged harshly by a media that seemed determined to find fault in her every action. It was a heavy burden to carry. The pressure also came from within the institution itself. The royal family, often referred to as the firm, operates on a strict system of tradition and protocol. For an independent woman used to having her own voice and career, this rigid structure was a difficult adjustment. There was an expectation to remain silent in the face of public criticism, a never complain, never explain policy that left her feeling unprotected and isolated. The support she needed to navigate this complex world was not always there. This feeling of being left to fend for herself was a significant factor in the growing strain she and Harry experienced. This period was a test of her resilience. While carrying out her official duties with a smile, she was privately struggling with the immense pressure. The birth of her son Archie in May 2019 brought great joy, but it also amplified the couple's desire to protect their family from the relentless public gaze. They wanted their son to have a chance at a normal life, away from the constant judgment and intrusion they were facing. The challenges were mounting, pushing them to consider whether a life within the traditional royal framework was sustainable for their family's well-being and happiness. The decision for Meghan and Harry to step back from their roles as senior working royals was not made lightly. It was the result of months of reflection and private discussions. In January 2020, they announced their intention to carve out a new, progressive role. Their primary motivation was to gain financial independence and to escape the toxic environment created by the British press. They wanted to continue their public service, but on their own terms, free from the constraints and expectations of the monarchy. This bold move sent shockwaves around the world, as it was a significant departure from royal precedent. It was a choice made for their family's survival and mental health. Since moving to California, Meghan and Harry have built a new life centered on their shared values. They established Archewell, a multifaceted organization that includes a non-profit foundation as well as production arms for media content. Through Archewell, they have focused on projects that aim to uplift and unite communities. They have partnered with organizations like World Central Kitchen to build community relief centers and have supported efforts to promote vaccine equity globally. This work allows them to engage with causes they are passionate about in a direct and impactful way, using their platform to drive meaningful change without royal protocol. Meghan has also re-embraced her own voice. She has launched a successful podcast, Archetypes, where she explores and challenges the labels that try to hold women back. In each episode, she speaks with influential women from various fields, having candid conversations about ambition, motherhood, and societal pressures. She has also co-authored a children's book, The Bench, inspired by the bond between a father and son. These projects show her creativity and her continued desire to connect with people on a personal level, sharing stories that empower and inspire others. She is shaping a public life that is authentic to who she is. Today, Meghan Markle's journey is a powerful example of courage and self-determination. She has navigated extraordinary circumstances with grace and has refused to be defined by outdated narratives. Her focus remains on her family and her work as a global activist and advocate for women and girls. She continues to speak out on issues of social justice, gender equality, and mental health, using her experiences to help others. Her story is not just about leaving royalty behind, it is about choosing a path of purpose, impact, and authenticity. Her influence continues to grow as she forges a new legacy, one defined not by a crown, but by her own choices and her unwavering commitment to making the world a better place.